tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Mata yata niyam puttam ayusa eka putta manurakhe evam pe sabba bhutesu manasang bhavaye aparimanam. Venerable Chief Reverend, Venerable Sirs, friends and children in the Dhamma, good evening and Happy New Year. Today we continue our talk series on Karaniya Metta Sutta. Now we are getting closer to the conclusion of the Sutta, but there is so much of Dhamma is still to be explained, which is related to this beautiful Sutta. Karaniya Metta Sutta, you are well aware that we are talking about Metta, the practice of Metta, the development of Metta for the well-being of yours and others. We talked about the background that any meditator should create it prior to his practice, psychological as environmental background. And then we talk about the development of the love, the metta in one's heart, gradual development. Now today, as a part of that development, we are talking about the ultimate level of development that one can have when he is continuously practicing the metta. In this verse, Buddha gives a simile, a very common, simple simile, but with a profound meaning. Buddha says, you must broaden your mind to be aparimanam, immeasurable, illimitable. Now, our main focus of this talk is based on this mind which is immeasurable. Now, prior to that, let's start this explanation with a story. Then it is something helpful for us to understand what the Buddha really meant in this verse. I think you may have all heard about the story of Angulimala. His name was not Angulimala, it was Ahinsaka. Ahinsaka is translated, it means innocent. Someone who doesn't harm anyone. Someone who is kind and loving. And actually this boy was like that, but he got into the wrong association. And with that he became a kind of a demon-like human being. A boy who could not even kill an insect, an ant, started killing human beings for the sake of collecting fingers, counting. Collecting fingers to help him to count. His idea, his purpose was to kill 1,000 human beings. And he was continuously doing it. And people were running away from him. Villages, towns were deserted. People escaped from this demon-like human being. They were all asking, praying for somebody to go and kill this Angulimala, whose mere existence is disastrous to the world. Even the king, the monarch of the country, Hasenadi Kosala, was preparing himself with an army to go and hunt this Angulimala down. When his mother heard about this, for her, there was no demon. For her, there was no killer. For her, it is only her child. The demon doesn't appear for her, only the child that she gave birth to. When the whole world is rejecting him, when the whole world is longing for his death, even his father did not want this Angulimala back at home. Even his father rejected this Angulimala. While everyone who existed at that time in the world were against this Angulimala, only two individuals who were ready to accept, to forgive, and to correct. And those two individuals were the Lord Buddha and his mother. While everyone was warning against them, both of them left their homes, left their places of living, looking for this murderer, looking for this serial killer. Of course, before the mother, Buddha met this Angulimala, opened his eyes to the truth, brought him back to the monastery, and ordained him. Put him back on the right path, right track of living again. Put him back in the path of innocence again. Of course, the mother, that Brahmin woman, her intention was just to bring her child back to home. So only these two individuals in the world had the compassion, had the love towards this murderer. Only they were accepting this murder because they had something similar in their hearts. We call that similarity. We call that beautiful attitude metta, unconditional love. Now today the love is everywhere and love is also nowhere. In the form of love, what we see is conditions. Conditions upon conditions. Now these conditions are based on feelings. When somebody fulfills our conditions in the sense of fulfilling our happiness, our joy, our bliss, then we are attached to that person. For example, if somebody, man or woman, behaves, does, talks, listens as you wish, to your like, to your wish to be fulfilled, then naturally, because of that person, you feel relaxed, happy, joyful or blissful. Because of your wish is fulfilled, you create some attachment to that person. You don't create same attachment to another person who does not fulfill your wish, who doesn't make you happy. Only to the person only to the person with whom you feel happy, you are attached. How about the other persons, other people? So our attachment to what we call the love is nothing but based on the conditions that you create within you on others. If you behave like this, if you talk like this or listen like this, I am attached to you. We don't say that, we say we love you. But what happened? That same person starts behaving differently, acting differently, talking differently. Contrasting to your aspiration, your expectation. Then that love in your heart towards that person starts diminishing, reducing. Or else, if somebody else appear out of nowhere, who can fulfill your wish, who can make you happier than the previous person, then again your love is diverted, your love is changed, gone. The conditional love that we create has no authenticity, has no guarantee. It is so surface level, superficial. Such a love cannot bear the name called Metta. We can call it another name, Pema in Pali. Buddha named that kind of love, the conditional love. But for the unconditional love, Metta. That unconditional love in the heart of the Buddha is for everyone. His son Rahula and his sworn enemy Devadatta and the rest of the world are equally accepted, treated, welcomed in that all-encompassing unconditional love. There is no difference whatsoever for his own child, Rahula, and for the sworn enemy, Devadatta. Both the enemy and the beloved son were placed in an equal position in that aura of love. Now, that kind of love is unimaginable. That love is even unthinkable for the people who has no any kind of development in metta. Because our love is nothing but the attachment in disguise. The disguised attachment is what we call the love. This attachment is based on feelings. If the persons or conditions fulfill, gratify, satisfy our feelings, then we are attached. And once that conditions or persons stop gratifying our feelings, then our attachment is also gone. That is the kind of love we know. But the love that Angulimala's mother had for her own son, is it based on feelings? Is it based on conditions? And that the love Buddha had towards Angulimala, is it also based on conditions? In the Buddha's eyes, everybody is fast asleep. Hence we call the Buddha the awakened one. If the Buddha is awakened, it means everybody else is sleeping. In the sleep, somebody talks. Somebody is angry and shouting. Somebody is happy and smiling or laughing. Somebody is sad and crying. Somebody is violent. Somebody is walking. Somebody is running. All sorts of mad, insane activities are happening while the people are sleeping. Do you think if somebody is awake, sitting down, observing these mad activities of the people who are asleep, do you think that person becomes sad when somebody is sad and crying in the sleep? Do you think that person who is awake is angry when somebody is shouting in anger in their sleep? Do you think that person has any kind of emotional impact because of these mad activities of the people who are sleeping? Because they are dreaming? In the same manner, Buddha's perspective of the world is absolutely different to us. He sees the world as everybody is sleeping. Once they are woken up, they will stop crying, they will stop laughing, they will stop this shouting in anger, they will stop all this madness. That's why this is uttered by the Buddha, that sabbe putu jana ummattaka. All the unenlightened people are mad, in the sense, all the unenlightened ones, all the unawakened ones who are fast asleep, who are dreaming, are doing things in their dreams. Things like mad people do. Things are something which are avoided, which aren't done by any sane individual. Madness, utter madness is the only existence in their dreams. Buddha knows once they are woken up, they will be just getting rid of all those madness. Madness exists while they are sleeping, not while they are awake. So Buddha's position is always tatra majjhatata, the equanimous position. The position where he is not affected by the love of others or by the anger of others. He is unaffected, he is undisturbed, he is not worried, because for him everybody is fast asleep. His son is fast asleep, his enemy is fast asleep. Both must need the same love, same compassion. And out of that love and compassion, Buddha will do his utmost to wake them up. Wake both the enemy and the son up. Once they are woken up, both will give up their madnesses. This kind of love is always unconditional and always reliable. That's why by the end of his life, Devadatta, who knew that he is going to die, he said, "Please bring me to the Buddha." And his followers said, "How can we do that? Your whole life was spent to revenge on Buddha, to destroy Buddha. And now you are asking us to bring you to the Buddha. How can we do that? Buddha will not open his door. The temple gate will close to you. They will not open the gate for you to enter." Then he said, "Yes, I did hate him. Yes, I tried to destroy Buddha. I did my best to get rid of him, but I am sure, and I know from the depth of my heart, that Buddha never had any kind of anger, hate, bitterness towards me. I know he loved me always. So no worries. Please take me there." His sworn enemy, though he was continuously following his desirous mind to destroy the Buddha, he knew in his heart, at the corner of his mind, he knew that the Buddha was always radiating metta towards him. Buddha's all-encompassing love, that metta never rejected Devadatta. He knew it. Such a love, such an unconditional love, we call aparimeyam, immeasurable, illimitable. Now this kind of love which exists in the Buddha exists in the mother. It is shown in the mothers of Angulimala. And the love shown in the mothers of Angulimala is existing in all the mothers in the world. The unconditional love towards their children. Unquestionable love. The love that the children can always depend on. The love that can never change, which arose in her heart when the child got conceived and existed throughout the life of the child and the mother's life. That invisible umbilical cord, never broken. Throughout their life, this connection is there. That love is there. Mata yata niyam puttam ayusa eka putta manurakke. A mother protects her own child. Here, eka putta, one child. When a mother has only a child, just a child, putta usually translated as son. But in Pali, putta represents both sons and daughters. So both are included. Now here, it is just one child. This woman has, and she will protect, anurakke, protect this child, keeping her own safety of the life, her own life in the second place, or even at the risk of her own life. She will protect this child. Only a mother could do that. The life is the most beloved, important, significant factor for us. Once Pasenajit Kosala, king of Kosala, he had a beloved wife, a queen consort called Mallika, to whom this king was so attached to. He asked this Queen Mallika, to whom do you like most? Whom you love most? Who do you love most in the world? Then this Mallika, without even reflecting or thinking for 2 seconds, she just replied, I love most in this world myself. I love myself most in this world. Of course, the king got hurt when he heard this. This is a contradictory answer. He was expecting for her beloved wife to say, I love you the most in the world. This is normal. But this queen, very definitively, straightforward answer. She said, I love myself most in the world. And Buddha clarified this for King Pasenajit Kosala. He said, your queen is absolutely correct. Each and every individual in the world love their lives most in the world. Now this is only the exception. When a woman has just a singular child, and this child is so beloved to her, she is ready to risk her life for the protection of her child. This is the only exception where somebody put her safety, put her life in the second place and give priority to somebody else. And being ready to go through any kind of agony, pain, suffering without complaint. How many days a mother can go hungry, without sleep, without any comfort, for the safety, for the recovery, for the well-being of her child? And if something happens to that child, she will go mad, like it happened to Kisa Gautami. Her only child died. She was not ready to accept it. For her, the child is just sick. And looking for the medicine for this sick child, she was carrying this dead body of the child, going all around the city, asking for medicine. My child is sick. The grief in her heart is so much. She couldn't bear this loss. She couldn't accept the death of the child. Such a grief which can cause the madness can arise in a mother's heart at the loss of her only child. So she will do anything and everything to protect that child. Mata yata niyam puttam. Mother, Mata, for her only child. Ayusa eka putta manurakhi. As she will protect that child, putting her life at the risk. Evampi sabba bhutesu manasam bhave aparimanam. In this manner, evampi sabba bhutesu, to all the living beings, to all who have taken birth. Bhuta has that definition, who has taken birth. Manasam bhave aparimanam. Manasam, the mind. Bhave, developed. Aparimanam, infinite, immeasurable, illimitable. Aparimanam. So the immeasurable mind should be developed. Just like the mother's immeasurable love towards her own child. And out of that immeasurable love, she will be careless of her own safety and try to protect her child This is the explanation in this verse. Now this immeasurable mind means the mind which accepts everything, rejects nothing. The mind which is open to all, close to nothing, close to no one. The mind which is forgiving, which is accepting, the mind which is letting go. Now this kind of mind is a mind without anger. If there is an anger in you, it means you are rejecting, you are prohibiting, you are not approving, you are judging, you are not ready to accept certain aspects of life. That's the meaning. You are being closed for certain unacceptable parts of life happening around you. Anger, hate, jealousy, all these negative traits of the mind are nothing but showing our narrowness of the mind, showing our confinement that we created ourselves around us. This is mine, that is yours. This is what I accept, that is what I don't accept. We are creating walls around us. In fact, we are becoming imprisoned in our own attitudes, in our own measurements, in our own judgments. From the things we think right and the wrong. Now, Buddha says, develop an immeasurable mind. What is the nature of this immeasurable mind? For that, we have to find the components of the immeasurable minds. Immeasurable mind is explained in Abhidhamma as appamanya, immeasurable minds, appamanya. They are 4 in number, and I have a feeling that you, as Buddhists, majority of you must have heard about and learned about these appamanya or immeasurables very well. They are Metta, Karuna, Mudita, Upekkha. So, if there is an immeasurable attitude to develop within you, they are nothing but these 4 sublime qualities or 4 Brahma Viharas. Sublime qualities. Metta, Karuna, Mudita, Upekkha. Metta, loving kindness. Compassionate love. Unconditional love or unconditional friendliness. When you have that love, that is for all beings in the world. Because it is unconditional. Everybody is included in that aura, in that radiation of love. Now that love, when it is gone down to the beings who are less fortunate than you, beings who are more suffering, more miserable, who needs somebody else's assistant, help, That love, when it is gone down to those less fortunate beings, that love turns into the thoughts called compassionate thoughts. That love becomes compassion. Compassion in the sense of having some urgency in you to help them, to assist them to overcome their misery. Same love turned into compassion when it is applied into the less fortunate ones than you. And that same love, when it is gone upward, the beings who exist are mostly more fortunate than you, living a more comfortable lives, having more benefits, having more wealth, power, beauty, strength than you. You don't need to compassion them. You are developing metta towards them, and that metta turns into the joy, happiness about their happiness. We call that joy mudita, altruistic joy. Joy of the beings who are happier than you. You feel joy about them. I feel happy for you. Such kind of thoughts for somebody in a greater place than you. If you have a jealousy, even a little bit of jealousy, can you have that authentic happiness for somebody else's happiness? People are compassionate, kind. When they see people are suffering more than them. But it is rare to have these thoughts of happiness when you see that somebody else is happier than you, more comfortable, luxurious, having more than you. Naturally, that jealousy comes up. You become more jealous of them. That's natural. And then, lastly, when you have metta in your heart, like the Buddha, equanimous towards the people who are shouting and who are laughing, who are smiling, who are happy, who are unhappy, equanimous. When you have metta in your heart, you have no judgments, biases, attachments to particular group of people, and detachment or fighting back with another group of people. You are equivalent. You have to be equivalent with metta. So the metta actually paved the way for the other factors of Brahma Vihara to arise in you. When you have that unconditional friendliness, love, you are naturally compassionate, and you rejoice others' joy, and you are in an equilibrium position. You are being equanimous, upekha towards all the beings in spite of their friendly or hostile attitudes towards you. Now, metta is the practice, and when these other qualities are part of the metta in one sense. In another sense, metta, karuna, mudita, upekha, They support each other, depend on each other, and they cannot arise alone. If metta is to arise alone without karuna or mudita or upekkha, that metta has no value. That metta is missing something. That metta has no power. And that metta is not authentic. So that metta must be arisen together with mudita, karuna, mudita, upekkha. Now this aparimana, illimitable, immeasurable manasam mind is there in the mother. But of course not towards the whole entire world, but towards her child. No matter the child look like or to whom to become, the child is always acceptable for the mother. That is metta. Unconditional love. No matter what he does, how he become, intelligent or idiotic, in spite of any of the mistakes, weaknesses, faults, good or bad, everything is acceptable for his mother because her love is not giving any condition, not creating any demands, but accepting him as he is. And when the child is sick, she will do anything and everything to recover him back. Spend sleepless nights, putting away all her comforts, luxury, well-being, but sacrificing for the child. That is compassion. And when the child is like an arrow, moving farther, developing further than, becoming powerful, developed, educated than her, she is so joyful, so happy, genuinely happy. That is mudita. And of course, when he comes to an age, sometimes that child takes the mother for granted. It happens. When you are sacrificing your whole life to your children, when you are together with them all the time, supporting, assisting in all sorts of manner, children bound to take their mothers for granted, devalue them, look down upon them. Of course, being human beings, mothers also have weaknesses, but those weaknesses are just a trivia in comparison with their sacrifice for the children. You cannot measure them with any other measurements. Yeah. But yet, the children, once they are coming into an age, becoming independent, they become indifferent towards their parents, towards their mothers also. But then, of course, we know sometimes they are casted in an elder's home, and sometimes forgotten completely once they found a partner to their lives. These things happen in the world, but yet mothers will not curse them, forbear them, finding excuses not to hate them. They will never grudge, or they will never develop hatred towards their children. They cannot do that because they have natural upekha, that equanimity towards their children. So, metta, karuna, mudita, upekha is naturally there in the mother's heart towards the child. It is granted to the child immeasurably, illimitably. Buddha says, as the mother grant her immeasurable mind towards the child, so also a meditator, especially a metta meditator, must grant his immeasurable mind to the whole world. He must be open, accepting, tolerant towards the entire living beings in the world, as the entire living beings who are existing, visible, invisible, near, far, friendly, hostile, known, unknown, are immeasurable in number. Metta, karuna, mudita, upekha. These sublime qualities, Brahma Viharas, could be transformed into immeasurable and radiate towards the entire world. This is what is meant in this verse. When metta is developed to the ultimate sense, when the metta is developed to the level of an arahant, level of an individual who has got rid of all the defilements, he has no trace of anger within, hatred, jealousy within, no craving, no attachment. In such a person's heart, if a metta arises, that metta is, by producing karuna, mudita, upekha, these sublime qualities, and these sublime qualities are immeasurable towards the entire living beings in these world systems. And that metta is similar, that sublime qualities are similar to the sublime qualities that arise naturally, biologically, in the hearts of mothers towards a child, especially when it is only child. Mata yata niyam puttam ayusa eka putta manurakhi. As if the mother protects her only child at the risk of her life. Mata yata niyam puttam ayusa eka putta manurakhi. Evam pisabba bhutesu manasam bhavaye parimana. Evampi, in the same manner, sabba bhutesu, towards the whole living beings. Manasam bhavaye parimana. Your mind should be developed immeasurably. Bhavaye. We know that bhavana also, following the same route, it means developing your mind. Bhaveti ti bhavana. Developing is the meditation or bhavana. So bhavaye, develop. This is the advice for the meditator who develops his mind. You should develop your mind to become immeasurable. That immeasurable mind is nothing but the mind that contains metta, love, karuna, compassion, mudita, upekha, mudita, altruistic joy, and upekha, equanimity. A mind which contains these four sublime qualities should be radiated towards the whole living beings, entire living beings in this world. This is the meaning of this verse. So with this, let's conclude. Let's finish this Dhamma talk with the transferring, with the sharing of merits with our departed ones and the deities. Let's share merits. Akasatta cha bummatta devanaga mahittika punyantam anumoditva chiram rakkantu lokasasanam chiram rakkantu desanam chiram rakkantu mam paranti yatavata cha ammehi sambatam punya sampadam sabbe deva sabbe bhuta sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. To departed ones, idam me jnatinam hotu sukhita hontu jnatayo. Idam me jnatinam hotu sukhita hontu jnatayo. Idam me jnatinam hotu sukhita hontu jnatayo. Blessings for you. Dukkha roga bhaya vera soka sabbe upadava aneka antaraya api vinassantu ca tejasa jaya siddhi dhanam labham sati bhagyam sukham balam siriyayu ca vanno ca bhogam buddhi ca yasava satavassa ca ayu ca jiva siddhi bhavantu te ayurarogya sampatti sagga sampatti mevacha ato nibbana sampatti iminate saminjatu. Sa